Andrew, exciting final, and once again, Mohammad was in another century in this ground. What do you say about that innings?
What an incredible player he is. He's in the top 20 in the ICC T20I rankings, but with that third T20I century that he made there today, he's really joined the elite of the modern T20I game. He's a devastating player, and himself alongside Alishan Sharaf, who wasn't at his best today but was exceptional throughout the tournament. And then Asif Khan, who seems to have cracked the code for T20I cricket now after a brilliant start to his ODI career. UAE, I think they're the best side in the tournament and deserve champions.
They lost the match against Oman, but if you look at the run getters, top three have 1, 2, 3 UAE. So do you think this was a bit mismatched in the final with their batting firepower?
I always thought that was the matchup. I thought it was a brilliance of the likes of Wasim and Sharafu and Khan against what's a very good bowling attack, and Akif Ilyas was sensational, 12 wickets for him, the leading bowler of the tournament. I thought Zishan Maqsood was brilliant all tournament, and Bilal Khan never stops taking wickets. My gut is the best sides won this tournament. I know Nepal fans will be disappointed to hear that. Nepal were unbeaten in the group stages, so too were Oman. Oman scrambled across the line in their semi-final, and then Nepal just never really got into the semi-final. Probably my only disappointment for Nepal was that third place playoff, where I thought really against Hong Kong, who are an up and down kind of side, they can be very good on their day. Nepal should be beating the sides of Hong Kong's calibre probably 7, 8, 9 times out of 10 if they can. But really, the story of the tournament is a return to the Asia Cup for the United Arab Emirates.
As you mentioned, UAE are playing the Asia Cup, but Nepal and Oman are preparing for the World Cup as well. So do you think that asserts the competition, how big of a competition in this region there is?
It's crazy, isn't it? You think of the depth in the Asian region now. It's quite phenomenal. You have to remember Kuwait and Bahrain easily could have beaten UAE and Oman on the opening day. They could have done it with real ease. And in fact, not just those two Gulf sides. I thought Qatar in phases were really, really good. Saudi Arabia are definitely a side on the rise as well. It's never been more competitive. You know, you look at Singapore, weren't even able to qualify for this tournament because Cambodia got by them in the ACC at the lower level, the Challenger Cup beneath this. I suppose big disappointment for the fourth place side. That's almost the bogey finishing spot, isn't it? You get no prize. You don't get that ACC Emerging Teams Cup, which would be great for the development of Hong Kong, Oman and the UAE. And it's crazy to think UAE, maybe the 12th, 13th, 14th best T20I side in the world. Forget about the rankings. I think they're 14th or 15th. But they're not at a 20-team World Cup. That shows the depth in Asia.
You've seen highs of Nepal and lows of Nepal. This tournament pretty much is one of the lows. What do you think went wrong for Nepal?
Yeah, look, I've seen quite a lot of the discourse on social media and fans understandably frustrated. I can understand the frustration. I don't think this is a big low, though. I think the only low in the tournament for me, for Nepal, was the third place playoff. The semi-final, they lost a big toss. They got by far the worst of the conditions, and they were outplayed on the day by an excellent side that have just gone and hammered an unbeaten Oman in the final. It's a T20 game. You have 30 or 40 bad minutes in a T20. The game goes by you. There was a little disappointment, I suppose, in the individual performances at points, with the exception of Tapendra Singh Airi and Lalit Rajbanshi and Karan KC, Abhinesh Pahara, Sampal Kami in the last game of the third place playoff. Not many players stood up. Asif Sheikh had his moments at the top two. But for the rest of the team, it was a bit of a challenging tournament. Sandeep Jor actually had his moments as well. I wouldn't call it a massive low. They won 4 from 4 in the group stages. They're very much still on the right track, on the right path, and I'm still backing them to go and beat a Test nation for the first time in the World Cup come June.
You said the Test nation, West Indies A are back in Nepal. They're playing in home conditions. How big a statement should there be with the results back in this side?
Well, I think it's a massive series, isn't it? It's going to be a West Indies A team by name. In theory, it will be all the best West Indian players who are not at the IPL. So, okay, Andre Russell won't be there. We won't see Romario Shepherd there. We won't see Sunil Ryan. He's not playing international cricket at the moment. So the guys at the IPL, they won't be there. But I do think the next best will be. And they're going to be pressing to get into that T20 World Cup team. So we'll have to wait and see what the squad is. But I think we'll see the likes of a Sheldon Cottrell there. Who knows, maybe Kesrick Williams will try and force his way back into West Indies selection after some recent domestic performances. I also wonder, will an Evan Lewis, somebody like that, come? There's so many good cricketers in the Caribbean. Whatever 15 they bring to Kathmandu, it's going to be a real challenge. Yes, Nepal will have the advantage of being back in home conditions, but I would probably make West Indies A. It could be favourites for that series. It's going to be really interesting to see. I don't think either side's going to win at 5-0.
You followed Nepal this time from the League 2 series that happened in Nepal. They've been playing continuous cricket. Do you think that's been a bit of fatigue that Nepal underperformed in this one?
I think I would have answered yes to your question looking at the first game. They felt like, I don't know, they'd come in just off a plane and they looked tired, but they scrambled over the line against Malaysia. And then actually, if you follow their curve through the group stages, mainly thanks to Dipender Singh, even that performance history that he made with the 36 runs from the 1 over, just the 5th player to do it, that only actually really covered up on what was an average enough performance in the second game. But then they were brilliant in the 3rd and 4th. I thought they really started to peak, and I don't quite know what it was in that semi-final. I think the toss had a huge amount to do with it. One of the things I love about Monty Desai and his coaching staff, though, not a single one of them or any of the team breathed a sigh about that. In fact, they said that would be just making an excuse on the day. They didn't play well enough. And what we did see in both the semis and the 3rd place playoff, the pitches slowed up. They went with a fresh pitch today for the final, which is a much higher scoring pitch. But in the semis and the 3rd place playoff, the pitch was very turgid. Actually, if Nepal could have scraped up to 150, it might have been a different game. And we saw them, they probably should have defended 140 in the 3rd place playoff.
World Cup is a big tournament that's coming up. We're back in World Cup after 10 years. So we saw you behind the scenes, voice of Nepali cricket in Under 19 World Cup. Can you expect the same in the World Cup that Nepal's playing after 10 years?
God, well, I don't know yet is the answer. I get asked that question a lot on social media. I would love to be there. Look, who wouldn't want to be there? It's the biggest and best World Cup that there's ever been. And it's not really just about my second home in Nepal. My own country is there, Ireland. 9 associates are there. That's the most at any cricketing tournament of all time. I love telling the stories of these men's and women's players from the associate teams who battle against the odds. And look, I think it's the most exciting World Cup for a reason. It's expansionist. It's growing the game. It's 4 groups of 5. It's a chance for all of these associates to score wins that they could never even dream of, games that they would never even get, to play against the likes of Australia, South Africa, India and England. It really is the stuff of dreams. I have said it many times. I'm convinced this young team under Monty Desai and Rohit Powell are going to uplift the nation. They're going to raise the hopes and the spirits, not just from a sporting perspective, really for the potential of the 31 million people in Nepal. I think they're going to be the test nation for the first time. I think they're going to get huge crowds in Texas and in Florida. I'm so excited to follow the journey. If I could be there commentating on it, well, it would really just add to it.
Last question for Nepalese fans. I know they're down. They've been disappointed by the performance. But what do you feel? You have seen Nepalese cricket so much up close. What do you say for the fans?
I think they're some of the best fans in the world, and I understand the emotions, and it's a roller coaster, isn't it? I understand the highs and the lows and the feelings that you have when you're following your nation and you care so much about it. They've been the 12th player over the last 10 years, not the last 2 years, probably longer than that, 20, 30 years since they started playing cricket in the 90s internationally. And in reality, there just has to be some measured expectations. You cannot win every game. You can't win every game against the associates, let alone against the test nations. These other associates that Nepal play against day in, day out, all of those 8 Cricket World Cup League 2 teams are excellent sides. When they have a good day, you're going to have to play exceptionally well to beat them, whether it's USA, whether it's the Netherlands, or whether it's UAE. And I suppose my message would be to manage those expectations, to stay behind the team, whether they win, they lose, or they draw. The team are playing their heart out every single time. And Monty Desai and Rohit Powell's outstanding leadership, it's so inspirational for the nation. So stick with them. I think they'll come good. And who knows, they might not just come good against the West Indies. They might come good in that World Cup.
Thank you, Andrew. See you at the West Indies and the US.
Pleasure. Dandavad.